artists today are younger and younger. The reason for that is because younger people under the age of 25 have more disposable income that they spend toward concerts, more towards CDs or downloads or that kind of thing, and they do it in a mass, in a block. So if they find something they really like, just like teenagers all go after the same thing. And so you find younger people being your target audience because they're all going to buy in a big purchasing block. Older artists, as they age, they have other demands on their money. They're raising families, they're working with the evil money managers, they're working with a lot of different entities that they've got to pay bills. So they have been marketing to younger artists. Now, when people talk about this, I tend to kind of chuckle to myself because music's always been that way. In 1963 on the Ed Sullivan Show, it wasn't a bunch of 50-year-old guys standing up screaming for Paul on I Want to Hold Your Hand. It's always been younger audiences. Country does traditionally have a little bit older audiences, but a problem with that, and when you have particularly older writers that want to write for, say, George Jones or some of the older things, the problem with that fan base tends to die off. And they tend to get older and they don't buy records or go to concerts anymore. So it's very hard to market those artists. In this day and age, everybody's a potential star on MySpace and Facebook. Everybody has their own sites, so that doesn't mean that you couldn't be an artist at past 40 or 50 or even 60 years old. You absolutely can, but you can't usually be that way in a mainstream record deal. And most of what we talk about here are starting with the mainstream. Now, what record companies are doing in this day and age are taking artists who are already developing in their own areas, their own fan base, their own MySpace. They're looking at 15, 20, 25, 30,000 people who are potential fan base for an artist, so they have immediate sales. And when they take that artist and promote them, and it costs about $2.5 million to launch a mainstream artist in this day and age, so that's a large investment. So they want to get as much back on that investment as possible, which has brought what is called the 360-degree deal. Now what that means is primarily an artist money comes from touring and merchandise income, as opposed to recording and CDs. Particularly if they didn't write on the CD, they don't make as much money from CD sales. But they do make from t-shirts, from hats, from beer koozies, from whatever posters that they have. And so a record company now is dipping into half of that. Someone like Carrie Underwood, who made $8 million, $4 million of that goes to American Idol, 19 Management, because that is where she came through in her upbringing as an artist. The people that go to American Idol own half of their income forever to that company, and that's the downside of coming through contests, because contests generally have some proprietary ownership of you, as long as you are an artist. But now record companies are doing this across the board, and they are getting a percentage of merchandising. So as an artist, you've got to look at yourself as a product, and you'll be able to market yourself. The more you can do on your own, the better off you're going to be on the back end. So before you start going and knocking on doors to get a record deal, find out how much you can sell on your own. It's all about product, it's all about putting butts in the seats, and it's all about making people love you and want to hear you over and over again.